Hello, and welcome to DeKalb Talks Tourism. Today, we have Alan Ferguson with us. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you, James.
Well, tell us, before we get started on what we're here today to talk about, let's talk about you. What is your background? Tell us about what makes Alan tick.
All right. So thank you. First of all, very glad to be here. Very glad, to spend this time, especially in DeKalb County. DeKalb County is home for me. I started, high school, went to high school here.
Where'd you go?
I'm a proud graduate of the Southwest DeKalb High School, class of 1988. Yeah, please don't go back and date me. But
before that, I think.
Yeah, but no. So DeKalb County, has really been home, and I'm currently a DeKalb County resident, even though I live in the city of Atlanta. I live in the part of Atlanta.
Atlanta's DeKalb. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's in DeKalb County. So very glad to be here. But I'm a product of the local area. As I mentioned, I went to high school locally for undergraduate. I went to Morehouse College. Yeah. I've actually done a little bit of the trifecta. I went to Emory for grad school, and as well as Georgia State, for grad school as well. And from a very early age, really kind of DeKalb County, shaped who I am and where I grew up, which is in South DeKalb County in unincorporated Decatur. And seeing the changes that happen within the neighborhood, especially from the perspective of housing and economic development, really motivated me to pursue a career at first in banking and finance, because wanting to attract investment and capital to my area, because seeing a need growing up, I was like, oh well, the banks have the money. I'm going to go where the money is, so I can bring money back to my neighborhood and community. Quickly found out that banking didn't quite work like that.
Yeah. Yep.
But it provided me tremendous opportunities, to pursue my true passion, which is in the areas of community development, economic development, neighborhood revitalization, affordable housing. So I found a group, within the banking institution I work for, that focused on those areas, and essentially kind of dedicated, my entire adult life to that profession and being a master practitioner, if you will, in those areas. And so, that's, what's led me, to the place where I am today. I met my wife in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we weren't quite, high school sweethearts. We started dating after I graduated high school, and she's a product of, DeKalb County schools and everything as well. And so, we've, reared and raised our family here. I've got two, young adult, children, 24 and 22. And I love the opportunity to be at this stage in life, this stage in my career, where I can really kind of give back in a material way to the place that I grew up.
Well, before the show started, we were talking about you went and got your PhD in entrepreneurship, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
So when and did you have the time?
Yeah, that's, well, kind of, made the time. So, education, has been a real, passion, for me. I really look at, education as, one of the pillars, one of the pathways, for, trying to have, a better quality of life. And so, I've always been passionate about learning. And so, after getting my undergraduate degree, I was really inspired, saying, you know what, I think I want to take this to the highest level that I can. And so it had always been a dream for me to pursue my doctorate. So along the way, I went to a couple of different schools. I mentioned, Emory and Georgia State, and picked up master's degrees. And while I was at Georgia State, that's when I began my doctoral studies.
So you did it kind of progressively right along with each other.
Yeah.
You're not like me. It's like 30 years to get my master's, and then 5 more years before I start my PhD.
Yeah, usually about every 8 or 10 years, I found myself like back in school.
You ever thought about teaching, or is this job kind of give you that?
Yeah, absolutely. So while I was at Georgia State, I started teaching courses. Loved teaching the students there, and currently in my part-time job, I guess you could say I'm an adjunct professor with the University of Cumberland.
So
And
you go
so
all the way back to Kentucky to teach, or you do it
well,
online?
I'm hybrid. So I
Okay.
do remote classes, but then we also have residency programs where we'll gather the students together for like a 4-day weekend, and have some very intense, learning sessions over 4 days. So it's really kind of a hybrid teaching, but it gets me, back engaged with students, back engaged in the classrooms, which is, the part of the work, that I love. You're not supposed to say that as a PhD. You're supposed to say you love the research more.
Yeah, that's what they like.
But I really, really love engaging with the students.
So it's interesting with me. I don't want to stay on school too long, but like with me doing my PhD at Clemson,
Yeah,
they bring me in to talk about the non-research stuff, like the industry stuff.
exactly.
Like I just spoke yesterday online to an intro to hospitality, and I've done that about 4 or 5 times now. So they really bring me in as the guy that's not talking research.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you're able to bring that real world
Yeah,
experience, what it's, your students, they're in there, they're studying like how to do the theory and the application
and they
and
don't
all that.
understand the real world part.
Yeah, exactly. You're coming in talking about the real world practice, which, just opens up, so much learning opportunities and really enlightens the students in a completely different way from then, reading the textbook and doing assignments and things of that nature. And so, that's something that I try to bring to to my students as well, providing them those kind of real world insights and the perspective from actually practicing in the field and saying, okay, this is what you read about. This is how it actually works
Yeah.
in real life. And so, giving them that perspective is invaluable.
Well, tell us about Habitat for Humanity. Like, what exactly is it? And then we can kind of keep going from there.
Great. Well, I've got the honor and the privilege of serving as the CEO for the Atlanta affiliate for Habitat for Humanity. And essentially what Habitat for Humanity is, it's a nonprofit organization, founded coming up on 50 years ago. Our affiliate, we actually just celebrated our 40th
Wow.
anniversary. So we were founded really early in Habitat for Humanity's existence. But what it is a program that essentially brings community together, and it brings community together for the common cause of really opening up opportunities for their neighbors. And so when you hear Habitat for Humanity, the first thing that most people think about is, building homes, coming
Right.
out to
That was
volunteer.
mine.
Yeah, exactly. Coming out and volunteer to build homes. But, you're not just out there doing construction, building a house. When you build that home, you're really providing a pathway, an opportunity for that family to achieve economic mobility and generational wealth, an opportunity for home ownership that for the most part they never would have had. So if you think about just in your own personal life, what having a home and being in a home has kind of meant to you and your family.
Very costly.
Yeah. Very costly, but if you think about
Yeah.
all of those other kind of intangible
Oh,
benefits,
yeah.
the feeling of, certainty, the feeling of security, the feeling of knowing you have a place each and every day that can provide you a sense of comfort that you own.
And have families and can stay there
Stay
through
there,
college.
exactly, and provide that sense of consistency. When we talk about the families that we serve, that those are the things that they're dreaming of, they're searching for. And when we're able to work with community, individuals who donate money, corporations, charities, church groups, civic groups, all different kinds of people who kind of come together from all walks of life, it's really an amazing thing to see people come from, all different areas of the city, different professions, different backgrounds, all for this common cause of saying we're going to band together and we're going to provide this home ownership opportunity, for this family. And so it's an amazing volunteer experience. It's an amazing experience, for our homeowner. But the real magic happens after they move into the home.
Yeah.
Because once they get into that home and they have that sense of place, they have that sense of comfort and security in their lives, now they can open up and they can start pursuing all of their other dreams and all
Because they've
these
got
other
that part, which
opportunities.
is the biggest part
Exactly.
of your life, really, and of your budget,
Yeah.
and you got that handled.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So so it's I'd say it's amazing experience, to be a part of, and to join in. And there's nothing like, talking to the homeowners and understanding the journeys, that they've gone through to get to that moment. But what's even more satisfying, like I said, is what they do after, the things they do, that they try to achieve, the opportunities they pursue that really just transform their lives.
Well, now you've got a ton of questions going on in my head. So, I mean, the first one while you were talking is it's their first home.
Hmm.
So it's probably a little smaller home, I would assume.
Yeah. So our homes, we really build for us. We build two different sizes of homes. We have a ranch style model that's right around 1,400 square feet, and just under 1,400 square feet. And those come either a 3-bedroom, 2-bath design, or either a 4-bedroom, 2-bath design. And then we build a 2-story model that is actually just under 1,700 square feet. And all of those are 4-bedroom, 2.5 baths in the 2-story models. So yes, compared to, kind of your typical home that you see built out here, that's roughly 2,000 square feet and up. Ours are a little bit smaller, but they're a little bit smaller because a couple of things. Number one, we do a very, very efficient build. Like if you go to a Habitat work site, you won't see a dumpster sitting outside the build site because we have hardly any waste
Wow.
that goes on at our site.
So it's very eco-friendly.
Yeah, so it's very eco-friendly, almost zero waste. Nothing really gets thrown away. Everything gets used towards the building and the construction of the house. That's the way our whole process is designed. But then also by keeping the size and design kind of very efficient, we're able to build a home really kind of more affordably than you would like a market rate build.
Right.
So we take advantage of the generosity of various different sponsors and different programs. Being a nonprofit, we can often get discounts on materials.
Right.
So we take advantage of that, along with the contributions, the time and the talent that our volunteers bring. When volunteers come out and they help us on a build, they really save us somewhere in the neighborhood of around $40,000 to $45,000 in costs,
Wow.
to build a home. So, efficient design, getting some discounts on materials, the use of volunteer labor, it allows us, to build a great home that's a little bit smaller, less than 2,000 square feet, but still very spacious in terms of how it's designed and its interior, for that homeowner. And the magic of all of this happening is that because of the generosity of our sponsors and donors, as well as, the volunteers contributing their effort, we're able to provide that home to our home buyers at a very affordable price and with a 0% 30-year mortgage. And so, that's still kind of unique amongst Habitat affiliates, across the country. Atlanta Habitat, we're very fortunate that we're in a position that we can still offer that 0% 30-year mortgage. But that's where the magic happens in terms of really creating deep affordability in the homeownership space. Our homeowners, they spend less per month on their housing costs than people who are in affordable apartments, 1-bedroom apartments, spend on their monthly rent.
Wow.
All of our homeowners right now spend less than $1,000 per month on their housing costs, whereas the 1-bedroom rent for an affordable apartment in the Atlanta metro area is right around $1,400.
Yeah, apartments are.
Yeah. So if you think about renting versus owning a 1-bedroom
When
apartment
you're not
versus
I
a
don't wanna
3 or
say
4-bedroom
renting is
house.
throwing
Yeah.
your money away, but when you leave, you have nothing assets.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, part of the magic and why, I really describe it as a pathway to economic opportunity, economic mobility, and generational wealth, because they're building equity. They're paying off their mortgage. They're building equity in their home. Their home is appreciating in value.
Yeah.
And if you think about what really kind of most families do with their home, they use their homes as an asset to do other things in their life. So when it comes time to write the check for that tuition for your kids or your grandkids, some people tap into their home equity to do that. If your family is growing and expanding and you need an addition added to your house, you tap into your home equity, to build that addition, to build more value
Well,
in your
that's my
home.
question. So when you
Yes.
tell me it's 3 to 4 bedrooms, so that automatically means you have a lot longer stay. Let's say you started out more single family,
Yep.
or maybe one kid, and you want to have three or maybe four. You have the ability to expand in that house.
Yeah, absolutely. So the homeowner, they own the house, they own the home, and we've had several homeowners that over the years that they've decided, oh well, I think I want a garage, and so they've built a garage onto their homes, or they said, my family's expanding. Or I just want more space. And so they build an additional room that becomes another bedroom or another den or something like that. So, they own the home. And just like any other homeowner out here, if they decide they want to grow and expand their home, they're free to do so.
So that was my question. As you were talking, you kind of somewhat answered it. Like, I was curious if this was a more of a starter and they moved up, or if they just grow in and expand. I was curious if they spend 1, 2, 3 years or there, or they're
No.
retiring there.
No, so our homeowners are typically in their homes for 20 plus years.
Yes, that's
And
amazing.
so, yeah, so if you talk to, folks out here, real estate agents, mortgage lenders, so on and so forth, the average person, average household homeowner, stays in their home roughly 7 to 8 years. Now, because interest rates have ticked up, that's been pushed out a little bit longer, but they typically stay 7 to 8 years before they decide to move or change locations or do whatever the case may be. But our homeowners tend to stay in their homes for a number of different reasons. Number one, they literally put their sweat into it, because a part of our process
Right.
is the sweat equity hours. And so they've actually been out there physically on the site helping to build their homes, driving the nails, into the framing, of building their home. So it's a really, really strong emotional attachment. The second reason is they really understand the value of the home that they have, both, from an emotional value in terms of what it means to be a homeowner and what it means to have, something, a stakehold, that you can, leave behind as a legacy for your children. But then also what that home means for them as an asset and an opportunity to build wealth. So in our process, we take them through extensive financial literacy classes and home buyer education classes, because we really want to emphasize that, hey, look, you're not just going through a process to get a house and a place to stay. This is really an opportunity that you can use to transform your lives.
Yeah.
And, we reinforce that over and over again. And by the time they get the keys, they fully understand that this is, an opportunity that I want to keep, I want to have, that I want to leave to my kids, that I want to leave to my children's children. And that. So the opportunity to use their home as a basis for creating generational wealth is real for them.
Now, you brought up a question. We have a lot of people that stay in the cab hotels
Mm.
for years and years and years. We have some that stay in the cab hotels and start businesses out of the hotel room. Have you all ever worked with trying to move people out of a 1 bedroom hotel room into actually one of these homes to where they could leave the hotel? Because a lot of times they're at the hotel because they pay it
Yeah.
daily.
Yeah, exactly. They pay a daily rate, or either they can pay a weekly rate. And, I think it's, kind of unfortunate that the state of, the housing market is today is that, quite frankly, we just don't have enough affordable housing opportunities. And the extended stay hotels, whether it's, by de facto or design, has become one of those options
Like an
that
apartment
people
right
avail.
now.
Yeah, exactly. They avail themselves to, because, because it's affordable to them. So we don't have a program or anything kind of set up to go directly from extended stay hotels into a Habitat home. Our process is exactly that. It's a process. such that when someone, submits an application to us, they, go through that review, they become determined that they're an eligible home buyer. We get them, qualified and everything financially. And then there's actually a review by a group of volunteers in our family selection committee, to interview the prospective home buyers, interview their families, get to know them to make sure that there's alignment between, what they want to do and what they pursue, and our mission in regards to really opening up housing as an opportunity, for all. And once they go through that process, then they get the opportunity to select the lot where they want to build and then start building their home. So our process is a longer process compared to a variety of different other programs, but it also involves a lot more engagement and connection with the prospective homeowner, and that's why we have such a really strong relationship with them. And our success, the success of the homeowner and the success of Habitat for Humanity, is mutually tied. We want them to be successful. By our homeowners being successful, they make our organization successful. They make our program successful, and we're allowed to continue to do this work. So it's really developing a relationship, and it's a relationship that starts in this 12-month process. But the fact that we provide a 0% 30-year mortgage, we're entering into a 30-year relationship, with this homeowner. And it truly is a relationship. We get, the invitations to the high school graduations. We get the invitations to the weddings.
That's got to be something.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic. We've got a number of homeowners who've just gone on to do just tremendous things. Pursue higher education, pursue professional licenses. Go get their law degrees. Start their own businesses.
I'll say with today's time of staying home and having your side business or becomes a real business, not a full business. I mean, you would think this is great opportunities because they just didn't have the ability for the houses. That then doesn't mean they don't have the ability. They didn't have the financial ability. But that doesn't mean they can't start their own business from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit upon a great point because, when you talk about, opportunities to create general wealth and, generational wealth and economic mobility, you can't leave out the conversation around entrepreneurship. That is one of the, pillars here in the United States for achieving economic and social mobility is through entrepreneurship. So we actually have a program. It's called Vision Goals Action, VGA launch, where we support our homeowners and their families, in pursuing their dreams. So we offer scholarships that support, additional education, workforce development and training and those types of things. But we also have a very strong, robust program for supporting our Habitat entrepreneurs. And we have several Habitat homeowners who have become entrepreneurs who are running very, very successful, businesses. One of, and I'll give her a personal shout out because everybody, I think, needs to know about her. One of our Habitat homeowners is a young lady by the name of Kinesia, and she has a business called Kinesia Cheesecakes that she started during the pandemic. She was a frontline service worker. During the pandemic, she, could not go to work. So her passion, her love is baking. And so she literally started baking in her home. And, her family told her baking was fantastic. Her friends told her baking was fantastic, but she was like, well, can I turn this into a business? So she made some samples. And she actually came out to, the Habitat bills that we had going on and gave out samples to the volunteers and to, kind of test market to see if, if this thing has legs. Well, sure enough, they told her it was a hit. And so she started her business. Now, she's, definitely growing and sustaining her business. She's getting all of her, certifications like, Safe Serve,
Yeah.
certifications and all of that in place. And she's even at the point where now she's looking at different options for commercial space. Um, commercial, preparation space so that she can actually do more, bake more, to provide more product. And so when I tell you Canisius Cheesecakes, you can find her out there, on Instagram. I think she's on Facebook as well. She makes the best cakes, the
Where
best
she?
cheesecakes.
Is she what part of Atlanta?
So she lives in Atlanta. She lives in the city of Atlanta, but she delivers. So you put in an order to her, give her your address and everything like that. I think if it's a closer in, if it's less than 5 miles or 10 miles, it's free delivery. If not, she charges a modest delivery charge.
I'm almost thinking she'd be very cool for this show.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just to hear her story around her journey just into home ownership and then launching her business, I think she'd be a fascinating candidate for you.
Because we do a lot of culinary on the
Yeah.
show. We're wanting to do an actual concept of culinary podcast.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think she would be, a fantastic addition for you. But that's just, one of our our homeowners who started a business. We have another homeowner who's started, a candle making business and is doing floral. We have another homeowner who does floral arrangements and actually grows the flowers, most of the flowers in her own backyard that she has. So it's fresh flowers that she harvests, and she has a flower.
You have like a local beekeeper making honey.
I don't think we have a local beekeeper making honey, but I won't say we don't have it. I'll just say we just don't have it yet.
So that's very cool because you know
Yeah.
how allergies with the way it is here.
Oh yeah,
Everybody
absolutely.
wants local honey versus like I use Savannah Bee Company honey, but
Hmm.
it's not here.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I completely understand. But yeah, we just have so many different homeowners doing, pursuing, different things in the space of entrepreneurship. And actually, we have an event coming up on April 25th. So actually, next week is our Boss Talk event, where we have a panel of successful entrepreneurs come in, and it's a panel discussion, and they talk about their entrepreneurial and journey to being successful business owners.
Where are you doing that?
We're doing it at our headquarters, which is located at 834 Memorial Drive Southeast, and it's April 25th. You can go online to our website atlantahabitat.org, and register to attend. It's going to be a great evening, and the founder of Swim Kids, Trish Miller, she's going to be one of the panelists, and she's a DeKalb County, resident, DeKalb County entrepreneur.
Does Swim Kids work with handicapped kids too?
I know they work with all children. I believe they can accommodate and work with handicapped children
I
as well.
swear I was because in
but-
my PhD class last night,
Yeah,
we were doing handicap swimming and we were looking for clubs.
yeah.
And I swear that name came up in our
It,
research.
yeah,
last
it,
night.
yeah, it, it probably did. She is passionate about teaching kids, how to swim, and started her school and her education program and all those things. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from her. And again, she's another DeKalb County resident.
Oh, I love that.
So cool. Yeah.
So I was hoping the cheesecake lady was in even if it's in Atlanta's DeKalb.
The Lions DeKalb. Yeah, I'll check and see exactly.
I still think she'd be cool for the show, but man, if she's like literally
Yeah.
in Atlanta's DeKalb, that even gives more of a
Yes.
zing to our show.
Yes, for sure.
So tell us, is there any famous people that you would want to talk about that's part of Habitat?
Sure. Well, I think probably, most people are familiar with, one of our, most famous, most influential benefactors and supporter, and that would be former President, Jimmy Carter, and, his late wife, First Lady, Rosalind Carter. And just tremendous supporters of Habitat. Really started working with Habitat, I want to say it was maybe 4 or 5 years after the founding, after the Fuller family founded, the organization. And President Carter has been a champion of our mission and our cause, and really elevated the profile of Habitat for Humanity, not just here in the U.S., but across the globe.
Right.
I would dare say that, there may not be a Habitat for Humanity International if it wasn't for the presence and the influence of former President Jimmy Carter. He's meant that much, to our organization. And he's, he's still here with us, even though he's in hospice. I think, people who haven't been around the former president kind of underestimated his resolve.
Yeah, I think so.
As recently when he was 96, I think 96, 97, he was out volunteering on builds with us for Habitat for Humanity. We Habitat for Humanity, sponsors an annual event. Actually, is every other year. An event called the Carter Build in his honor, where they go to different cities, different locations, to build several houses within a week, usually 20 plus houses within a week. And so that started under former President Carter, and it continues now with Garth Brooks and Tricia Yearwood kind of picking up the mantle of championing that cause for us. And so it's
look at that.
Good. Yes. And that picture is the famous picture. He actually, had a spill on one of the build sites, went back, that day, and then came right back out the next day.
Really?
And continued building. Yeah.
So this was recent?
Yeah, that actually happened when he was in his 90s. So definitely like within the last, I believe, 10 years or so.
Yeah, see, once you mentioned Garth Brooks, then I remembered it, but
yes,
right off the top of my head, it would be straight to Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's just iconic in regards to, how he's championed our cause and helped spread the word around our mission and the work we do, and really looking at the opportunity for home ownership, especially through the lens of of how it helps people transform their lives. So
I'm assuming you've met him and talked to him a ton of times.
No, I haven't met him and talked to him a lot of times.
Wow.
That's why everybody assumes I get a lot of people coming to me say, so how's Jimmy? Everything. But we actually had the pleasure of hosting an event. Wells Fargo Foundation, which is a big supporter of ours, they gave us a very generous grant because they wanted to do something in support of the Carter legacy. And so I had the great opportunity to meet Jimmy Carter's grandson last fall, Josh Carter, and he came out, and we had an event where we announced the groundbreaking, the launch. We're going to build 6 homes this year in one of our really our first planned mixed income home ownership community that we have going on, and we're going to build those 6 homes on Carter Way. We renamed the street. We renamed the street President Carter, Rosalind Carter, Carter Way, and so we're going to build those 6 homes there starting this fall.
I had the privilege of being in the room.
Yeah.
That's as close as I got, because the NACA, National Citizen Chinese Americans, honored President Carter, and we were on this stair steps at Fernbank. So I was on the steps with President Jimmy Carter. That's the closest I got to Secret Service, of course, everywhere.
Exactly.
But
still a good company.
I was in the same room on the same stair steps in the same picture.
Yeah.
I need to find that picture.
That's great.
But that's pretty cool. So I automatically think of him.
Yeah.
As your celebrity. Once you said Garth Brooks, it's like, okay, I do remember that, but it's not top of my mind, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
So what's the next step for you all? I mean, do you all do you ever do any type of events? Is there the next big goal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Besides the one you talked about, actually, with President Carter's name.
Yeah, absolutely. So with with our particular affiliate, and all the affiliates that are operating, within the metropolitan Atlanta area, we're really trying to elevate the conversation around uh, not just affordable housing, because I think everybody now is, understands that, there's a real affordable housing crisis,
Huge.
that the affordable housing crisis crosses many, goes across many different, folks on the whole income spectrum. It's not and no longer just a challenge or an issue for low to moderate income families. You're talking about middle income families,
Yes.
and even some upper income families that are being impacted due to the lack of housing supply and the increasing housing costs. And so it has become a much broader conversation. But in that conversation, we want to make sure that we elevate and we don't lose sight of the importance of home ownership. Because home ownership, as traditionally done, in this country, has been one of the pillars, one of the foundations of how people achieve, economic mobility, how they create that generational wealth. So we're going to continue to lean into home ownership going forward, and deeply affordable home ownership, and really try to pursue every means that we can to try to build more houses, in our footprint where we operate, because it's needed. And that opportunity, for a better life and to have a stakehold, in this city, in this region, is desperately needed. And, especially as the area continues to grow and continues to prosper, we want to make sure that those low to moderate income families have a fighting chance, to make it out here from an economic mobility standpoint. So we're going to lean into that. We're trying to build more houses, but at also the same time, we're trying to be of service and to serve, more, people. So we've got a very, very strong, robust homebuyer education program. We're really looking at ways, and I'm exploring ways on how do we start offering that homebuyer education out to a broader audience and making that available. Our financial literacy program is currently available to a broad audience. You don't have to be a prospective Habitat homebuyer to take our financial literacy education. You can sign up. It's right there on our website, atlantahabitat.org, and you can start taking those financial literacy courses. But as well, as I said, we're trying to think of other ways that we can be, a point of entry to serve, more families. So as people are looking for resources, especially when it comes in regards, to the questions they have around home ownership and things of that nature, trying to think creatively of ways that we can increase our reach and increase our presence to serve more people.
Yeah, it seems like just being like I bought my house 13 years ago,
Yeah.
and it's somewhere between doubled and tripled.
Mm-hmm.
But, it seems like there's a need for what used to be not rich, of course, but more nice homeowner that's like 300,000 area.
Yeah.
Now that's, 800,000 or whatever. It seems like there's a need for going back and having that $300,000 home concept, or a way to not. I know several people that's paying rent substantially more than my house
Mm-hmm.
payment was,
Yes.
but they don't have that 20-40% to put down.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it jumped now.
Yes.
So in price.
Yeah, exactly. And so, that's actually one of the areas that, we're considering, getting more involved in, that I'm considering, let me clarify, getting more involved in, because, as I mentioned, we currently have, what I consider our prototype mixed income homeownership development. So that's actually a mix of our Habitat home models that we do, that offers deeply affordable home ownership, but also we have partnered with two other organizations, Cityscape, which is a great market rate home builder, and the Atlanta Neighborhood Development Partnership, which is a local community development financial institution, as well as developer. We partnered with that organization, and they're building what I would describe as market rate workforce housing in that same community alongside us. And so our units in this initial phase, totals around, totals up to 75 Habitat homes, and they're building 59 attached homes that are going to be market rate affordable. And their price points, you mentioned right around 300,000. Their price points are right around $300,000, but they're also offering a substantial incentive package, down payment incentive package, to help home buyers, qualify so that they can, go into, what, the buzzword right now is attainable,
Yeah.
housing. And that, $300,000 to maybe $400,000 price point that, middle income families, middle income households can attain.
That 3 to 4 is very doable. Once you get into 5 to 6 to 7,
Yeah,
and especially the down payments correlate to those.
Exactly. Which, if you're able to hit a $325,000 price point, you couple that with, some nice substantial down payment assistance, you end up with a mortgage that, may be on par or less than what someone will pay for rent. But again, they now own that home.
Right.
And
you're paying yourself, basically.
Exactly. And they're not at risk to the landlord raising rents by 3-5% each and every year. So there's some benefits to that. And so that's a model, that we like. It's working, tremendously well at this development. And as we look at future developments that we're going to pursue, we're going to, implement that mixed income homeownership model.
So do you have any particular advice for citizens out there that want to get involved with your organization, want to help?
Yeah,
sponsor?
Yeah, absolutely. So always looking for sponsors. You don't have to write $1 million check or anything like that. $10 when the community comes together and everybody chips in $10. That could raise a lot of money. To support a new prospective home buyer. So donations are always accepted. But also, if people want to get engaged and get engaged with us, you can sign up to be a volunteer on our website. I really, really want to emphasize that there are many ways that you can volunteer with Habitat. So most people think that, well, if I sign up for the volunteer, all I'm going to do or all they'll let me do is the construction. No, we operate 2 restores, and restores are retail stores where we take new and gently used merchandise that gets donated to us, and we resell those items
Where
out
are
to the
those?
public. So we actually have 2. We have one located right next to our headquarters on Memorial Drive, 834 Memorial Drive Southeast, and then we have the South Fulton Restore, which is located on Old National Highway down in the city of South Fulton. And so those are open. The Atlanta Restore is open Tuesday through Saturday. The South Fulton Restore is open Wednesday through Saturday. And you can also volunteer in those restores. You can imagine we get a lot of donated goods. Some come from manufacturers, some come from major retailers, a lot of the merchandise comes in from individuals, and it needs to be sorted. Sometimes it needs back, needs to be put on the floor. These are active retail sites, so we can train people to work with customers that come in. So it's just, for those who want to come and volunteer, but don't necessarily, they're not interested in getting a little muddy or dirty from being out on the build site. They can come to our restore, as well as we're very keen on if anyone has any particular skills that they want to share with other people. So we have volunteers that come in and teach our prospective home buyers web design. Because a web designer, comes in. We have volunteers that come in that are experienced kind of handymen and tradesmen, those types of things. And they volunteer and they teach our home buyers home care classes. So, key part of affordability is knowing the things that you can fix and take care of yourself versus, having to call a professional and spend $200, $300, $400 to come in and do those things. So we take all of our prospective home buyers through home care classes where they learn how to do routine home maintenance that they can do
That's
themselves
important.
on their homes to maintain that affordability
Definitely.
over long term. And so we, have volunteers come in and teach those classes, as well as a variety of other, of other things. If anyone has a skill or a talent they think they like to share, and want to share with others willingly, come talk to us, and we'd be more than happy to talk to folks on putting a class around it. One of our, I should say, one of our mission ambassadors for us, Michelle Smith Boyd, who has a show on HGTV, Lux for Less. He's an interior designer. He's got a show on HGTV. He signed up as a mission ambassador, and one of the first things he said he'd like to do is teach an interior design class to our home buyers so that they can learn how to design their homes on a very tight budget and have a very upscale, glamorous look. And so he's actually come in and he's taught a couple of interior design classes.
Wow.
For us. So anybody who has a talent or skill that they want to share, they're welcome, to reach out to us and figure out how they can volunteer and get engaged.
There's a question, because over the time period of my moving and my mom's home coming to my home when she passed away, do you all pick up the stuff? Pick up donations?
Yes, absolutely. So that happens, quite often. People who are moving or relocating, they don't want to take all of their items with them, or people who are going to do a major renovation on their home. If you call us ahead of time, we can, come by. We can arrange pickup. For those, household items and materials you'd like to donate. And especially if you're doing a major renovation, we can come by and look at, your cabinets and your fixtures and everything that you may have in your kitchen or your bathroom. And if there are items that we can reuse, we'll, work with you to kind of deconstruct those items so that we can then take them back to our restore and put them back out to productive use.
That's very cool. The pickup is unbelievably important because there's been so many times that finally I just got junk or something.
Yes.
Because I don't really have the time or the ability to get a couch or a big dresser to the store.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get rid of it.
Exactly.
You got to get it out of the house.
Yes, you can. You can call us, and and there have been those instances. We, one story that comes to mind is, we had a family, and they were relocating, and not just relocating to like another state, they were relocating to another part of the world, and they were like, we've got here a whole 3-bedroom house. It's full of furniture. We can't take it with us. We don't want to take it with us. Will you come, do a pickup? And we made arrangements, and we picked up all of their household merchandise and put that back, to productive use. And they kind of see how it kind of goes full circle. I was there at the restore when the items came in, from this, particular customer, and I saw it come in that same week. I was there, and I was walking through the parking lot, and I saw one of our restore customers buying that couch that just came in and loading it on their truck to take home, and was just so excited, overjoyed, because he had bought this, I'll say what it is, this beautiful leather couch for like $75. And he was like, this is what I needed. I just moved into my apartment. I didn't have any furniture, but now I've got this couch. So when people donate to us, especially, donate merchandise to the restores, you are helping other people in ways you just didn't imagine.
Very cool. I did not know all this.
Yeah.
Is there, so you want to put a plug in for the Decide to Cab?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for mentioning that. So I'm proud to serve as a board member, for Decide to Cab, the County's Economic Development Authority. And, hats off, to Don Bolyar, chairman, and all of our other board members. But I really want to shout out Dorian DeBar, who's the
How do you
executive
deal with
director and
Dorian?
CEO.
I just tell you, I
I,
mean,
I tell you to deal with someone who each and every day is trying to figure out how to create a better quality of life and opportunity in DeKalb County. That's a tough thing.
it's,
You know,
it's tough. It's a good thing we have him.
yeah, he's great. He's fantastic. He's got a great vision
Yeah.
for the work that the Economic Development Authority can do in DeKalb County, and he also has a great vision around the impact that he wants the authority to make in our neighborhoods and in our communities, especially making sure we keep that economic engine going, bringing those jobs and those fantastic opportunities to DeKalb County, but at the same time focusing on those elements where investment is needed, those targeted neighborhoods, those targeted communities that have been neglected over the years, making sure that we try to drive some investment dollars there, and continuing to open up opportunities for small businesses and entrepreneurs and workforce development in the county. He's doing a tremendous job, and he's only been there a short time. I can't wait to look.
Well, I've
back
watched his
after
career,
10 years.
his career goals, and
Yeah,
I've watched him grow from where he was an accountant to the interim director. And we thought, are you ever going to get out of the interim director role?
yes,
I mean, that seemed like it was a slam dunk decision. It took forever.
hmm
So we're extremely excited to have him as president, executive director, CEO, whichever the title is.
yeah, the
big
guy
boss.
in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had him on the show maybe a month or so ago. So that's where we actually found out about you.
Oh, okay, great.
So, well, do you have anything you want to talk about in the close?
Yeah, certainly, thanks, again, James, thanks, Monica, for, for this opportunity. And like I said, this is, an issue. This is the work, that we do. And it goes beyond just thinking about, like I said, building houses, per se. It really goes to the heart of, who we are as a community, that we really kind of join together. We can, combine forces, we combine resources, and we try to help lift each other up. And when we do that, there's a saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
It does lift all boats. And so, for those interested again in volunteering, you can go to our website, atlantahabitat.org. You can go to our website, get access to our information, especially around homebuyer education and financial literacy. And you can go there as well to just keep abreast of all the different happenings and activities, that we have going on. It's my pleasure to serve. It's our pleasure as an organization to serve the community. And we appreciate all the support we get. So thank you. And thank you for having me here.
Well, Dr. Ferguson, like saying that now.
Yeah, I like
Thank you for being here. Been a great show. Had to have you back on your next big escapade.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more happy. Thank you, James. I appreciate the opportunity.
And thanks again. Tune into our next show.